We'll get started today.
Oh, shit.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming to the PSF Health Talks tonight. Very excited to have our guest speaker today, Mike Gallagher. He is actually one of our clients here. A little bit of a mentor since he started here at the gym with me. A little bit more on nutrition and just a little deeper thoughts into some of the things that we've worked on together. So very excited to have him here. Just a little background about Mike. Mike is a licensed professional counselor, certified employee assistant professional, a certified supervisor, alcohol and drug counselor, and has a master's degree, who has studied extensively alternative and nutritional treatments for over 50 years and is now retired. Mike was a co-founder and clinical director of an alternative treatment clinic in the south suburbs. He believes that the body can heal itself with proper nutrition, exercise, and lifestyle change. He also has extensive experience in the addiction field and has used these methods to help people in recovery. He has also come to know that there is not one perfect health system for each person to achieve optimal health, but it may mean utilizing a combination of protocols. He believes that to facilitate wellness and promote healing or change, that all aspects of a person needs to work together in a state of homeostasis, and to stay there, one needs to live a lifestyle that focuses on keeping one's life balanced in an unbalanced world. Over the years, he has taught wellness to many people. So we're very excited to have him tonight here. I'm going to turn it over to Mike. So thank you for being here, Mike.
Thank you. I'm just going to briefly touch on how this journey started, or my life journey. Why I decided to do what I did. Brief. My mother was crippled up when I was a child with rheumatoid arthritis. She had one of the worst cases of arthritis they ever seen at the University of Chicago. And she was probably about 26 or 27 years old when she was pretty much crippled up and confined to a wheelchair. And the suffering that she had was so immense that I can't even describe it to you, because if I think about it too hard, I'll start crying right now. And so what that did for me was, you know, I was always a person who asked why, why things are the way that they are. I mean, I always wanted to find out why that happened, And so, one thing it taught me not to necessarily love doctors, but I'm not talking against medical doctors, but what they did to my mother, the surgeries and the drugs and things that they eventually used on her, would, made her life even more miserable than the condition she had. So, what that instilled in me was sort of a rebelliousness, but I really cared about people, and I think that one of the real ways for people to overcome many problems is by learning, about caring and through kindness. But the suffering was the thing that started me looking at alternative, like, what's this all about, and then how does the human body get sick, and how does it stay sick, and what can be done about trying to fix it. And it's been a journey, and I've studied with many different doctors, chiropractic, I've studied, alternative treatments, and I'm not going to go into each and every one of them, but I went through many of them. And actually, when we started the clinic back in the 70s, it actually sounds like it should be started now, but we had medical doctors, chiropractors, nutritionists, psychology people, and massage people working in a clinic together in the South Side. And everybody worked together, trying to help people get well. And it was rather unique because we got all these people from these different professions working together, which is oftentimes very difficult, because one thing that you find out when you work with the healing profession is that everybody thinks that they can fix everything. And not everybody, but many of the people think that they've got the answer to everybody's physical or emotional problems. And the one thing I found out is that they don't, and nobody does. So I try to put as many pieces together. I co-founded the thing with another person, and we put it all together. It was rather that lasted for quite some time. But my background was in addictions, and that's where I started, in mental health. And so after that was done, I spent the next 30 years or so working in that field. So, but I've continued to constantly try to learn different things, and it's changed over the years. You know, it might have started out in this camp, and then I gravitated to another one, but it wasn't an overnight experience. But one of the things I want to say is that the American diet is killing people. The high fat and the high protein diets that we eat are killing us, killing our families and our kids, and we sort of don't know. You know, we sort of are not clued into that because we eat what we were taught to eat. I mean, I used to eat what my parents used to make, right? I mean, well, I figured they know what to do, right? But what I used to do is try to challenge people's thinking about that. But again, it's changed over the years. One of the things is this, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's, we put this, actually this was designed like 40 years ago, but it was, it's a pyramid with circles around it and in it. And each part of the human being is part of this. Our psychology, our physiology, and this is supposed to represent spirituality, okay? And what this symbolizes is that to have balance in your life, all three of those characteristics about ourselves has to be in balance. I mean, it doesn't have to be in perfect balance because things teeter out of balance and we try to bring them back in the center. But it's important that everything works together. And inside of here, there's things like exercise and diet and psychology and mental and your attitude. And your attitude is around it. It's about your attitude and how you approach things. Like if you walk in thinking, you walk into a given situation and say, you know, I got this. I think I know what's going to happen. Or he's such a way, or she is such a way. You really don't know until you find out. So, but our culture, who we are as a people, is oftentimes based on marketing, Hollywood, Madison Avenue. They tell us what we should do. We don't necessarily, you know, it's like Budweiser spends billions of dollars advertising. Why? And the simple answer is because it makes them money and it works. And so does everything else. When these big companies advertise to us, we believe what they're telling us. And some of it's true, some of it's half-truths, and some of it's no truth. It's just marketing something to you and selling you something. And everybody in this room knows about the high cost of healthcare in America. But what are they trying to do? They're trying to, you know, one party's doing this, the next party's doing that, this president's doing that, the other president is doing this, rather than talking about the truth of healthcare. And the truth of healthcare is that, guess what? You're in charge of your own health. You can go to a doctor, and I go to the doctor, so don't take it out of context. But you can't put another person in charge of your health. I mean, if you get sick, you need to go to the doctor. And you can say, well, these tests indicate that you got such and such. Okay? But ultimately, we are in charge of what's going on. We are in charge of what we put inside our body, how we move our bodies, how we think about ourselves, how we think about other people, how we think about our problems. And your doctor, he can't fix that. Maybe a psychologist could help you do that. But we're in charge of that. And it's, you know, I think we're sold a bill of goods, and we you know, it is part of advertising, is that when we think that when we can pretty much do whatever we want to ourselves. We could eat whatever we want. We could do whatever we want in terms of the lack of exercise. And then we expect, well, when we do get sick, at least we know where we can go, right? We can go to Dr. Jones or Dr. Smith, and he's gonna have this magic pill that he gives us to make it work, make our bodies work better. And all of us probably are mature enough in this room to understand that's probably not the case, because he may give you this magic pill, but there's side effects. With every pill you take, there's a side effect. In fact, many times there's some side effects. I mean, there's many side effects. Back in the day when we were working with a doctor, we weren't allowed, obviously, to take people off medications. And we wouldn't, of course, unless it was, if we could find something else to do. But many of the problems that people actually had were medication reactions to their health, issues. And I'm by no stretch of the imagination am I saying stop taking medications. That's not what I'm saying at all. But you have to be aware of what's going on. There are other things that you can do to keep yourself healthy, to keep your family healthy, and to not fall for everything that you're being sold. I'm not here to give you a diet. I'm not here to say, eat this way, or eat this food, or eat so much of this food, or drink this beverage. This is not what this is all about. What I wanted to do today was to get you thinking outside the box about how you can incorporate, positive choices into your life that you can live with, okay? Because everybody here is different. Dr. Roger Williams, back in, I think, the 50s and 60s, he wrote a book called Biochemical Individuality. And he said, basically, we're all different. I mean, we all have different needs and different nutrient needs, different food needs, and things like that. It's a rather in-depth book. But and I've taken it to the stage where we all are different. We think differently, come from different places, different families, different ethnic groups, etc. And but it's hard to shift people away from what they've been doing into another absolute. Okay, we're going to go from steak and potatoes to lychee nuts and tofu. Okay, it's rather difficult. And most people aren't going to fall for that routine anyways, but even though it may be a better choice. But the thing that I found out about food is that junk food and fast food is like pornography to your body. It's just like pornography is toxic to your brain and to your relationships. Fast food is toxic and pornography to your physical body. And who hasn't eaten fast food? I mean, we all sort of do it. I sort of don't do it, but I choose not to because I don't want to. But what you're eating, you don't know what you're eating when they're slapping this food together and they're serving it to you. And what it does to your body and what it does to your kids and your grandkids is not good. And it's chemicals and the toxins that are in this food, you're eating it. And your body has to take care of that stuff, and how does it get rid of it? It's rather difficult. My primary belief is that to gain and maintain your health, it's a process. And a word that I've used for a real long time is called, I use the word lifestyle. And that's what I want to sell you. Oh, by the way, I'm not here to sell you anything because I have nothing to sell. I'm not selling you me. I'm not selling a job. I'm not selling a product. I'm not selling nothing. I'm not here. Tim's not paying me. There's no, I just do this because I believe in this. And I believe in, sharing information with people who want it. I don't stand on street corners and belt it out, and I really just keep it to myself and my family and for people who ask me. When I was in this line of business, I used to speak in front of people all the time, trying to influence them to take care of themselves better, okay? And I wish that we had more people doing that, because we need more people to hear there's another way to do this, okay? But gaining and maintaining your health is a lifestyle. The choices that you make, the things that you do, the way that you live, okay? It's like, if you said, Mike, meet me at McDonald's, I will meet you at McDonald's, okay? I will drink water, and you can eat whatever you want to, okay? And I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna condemn you for eating that food. I might say, a little bit, a little grease, right? But I'm not gonna do it. I'm just not gonna do it. And I'm not trying to say that I'm a hero for doing that. It's just that I've disciplined myself and focused on making the right kind of choices. It's just like, you're at an office party. The average person in America puts on like 15 pounds over the holidays. I just heard that a couple weeks ago. It's astonishing. And you're sitting around the office, and there's cakes and pies and cookies, virtually, all the people bringing candy, boxes of candies. I work in the psychiatric practice, so people are bringing all kinds of, and it's, you want some of this? No. It's because after a while, it's not really appealing, because it's not really healthy. And after a while, it doesn't even necessarily taste good. So, when I say lifestyle, that means that you're making the choices for you, that you're not going to induce certain kinds of things into your body, your mind, and into your family. I'm not going to bring this type of food into my house. If you like potato chips and ice cream, it's great. But they're not coming to my house anymore. Your kids are gonna rebel, your grandkids are gonna blow a hoot, but the thing is, after a while, when you find out that you could substitute things, that you could get people to eat carrots, or apples, or pears, or bananas, or oranges, as a substitute for other kinds of things, or, I have, excuse me, what do they call these different lemonades, or frozen ices, and things like that? They're basically pretty healthy. You find other choices. So, in terms of looking at the entire situation, is that when you look at your entire life, and this is what's symbolic of that, you're looking at, your relationships, you're looking at, the food that you eat, you look at the environment that you're looking at what kind of, maybe church that you go to, and how that all contributes to your life, and who your life is, and how you raise your children, and how you influence your grandchildren, etc. These are all important parts of who we are, but because we automatically oftentimes just do things without thinking. We go, well, I got to get to work, so I grab a donut, or I grab a cup of coffee with the donut, and we just do it. We used to, and what I'm asking you to do, think about that. Think about what you put inside your body, and think about how that's affecting your blood sugar and your cardiovascular system and things like that. What's better for you, an apple or a piece of candy? Is a baked potato better than French fries? Okay, it's still potato, right? What I'm asking you to do is to think about those things. Get the baked potato. Okay? Everywhere you go, people talk about potatoes being bad for you. Potatoes, there's nothing wrong with a potato. It's what we put on a potato that makes it bad. You can get a low-fat, no-fat dressing and put it on a baked potato. Or you can put, a chili, a homemade chili over a baked potato. tastes delicious. You could do all kinds of different foods and put it on top of it. Or if you just want a baked potato, you can get the fat-free dressing over a Jewel. You don't have to go to the Whole Foods and buy it. You can go, and they have it right here at Jewel. You can put it on. It gives it a nice flavor. And how many calories are you basically eating? You're not eating 800 when you put butter and sour cream and whatever else they throw on there, right? You don't. It's that kind of thinking that can change what you're putting inside your body and the amount of calories or whatever your issue is that you need to address. I think that awareness is the key. The key to overcoming a lot of different kinds of things. It's like when I used to work with drug addicts and alcoholics, and they would come in and I'd evaluate, appraise, diagnose, assess their situation, and I'd say to Joe or Bill or Betty and say, it sounds like you're pretty much on your way of killing yourself. You're about to lose your job. Your wife's left you, and your kids don't want to talk to you. And I said, oh, yeah, I wonder why all these miserable people don't want to be part of my life. I said, well, it has really nothing to do with them. It has a lot to do with you. Because when you drink and you use drugs, you act like a goof. You get violent, you get stupid, you throw up on the floor, and you think you're cool, okay? Because you're hanging out with a bunch of guys in a tavern, and when you come home, everybody else is, you're supposed to be subservient to you. And so now they're gone, or about to be gone, and you think that you're right and they're wrong. And I says, if you continue in that thinking, you're gonna be dead. And some people do. And, well, in fact, many people do, or most people do. They proceed to destroy themselves. Sad to say, even though I shot straight to people, because that's the only way I know how to do it. Because if I give you psychobabble, you're gonna know that that's just BS eventually, because it's not working. When you're aware of something, if it's pointed out to you, like you can maybe think that French fries are okay. I mean, okay, it's legitimate. But if I tell you that it's not, or somebody else tells you that it's not, think about it. Maybe you'll think about it. Say, maybe I don't need that food in my diet. I really don't need that food in my diet. I'm going to say some things tonight, and I should have said this 10 minutes ago, or whatever, 20 minutes ago when I started. There's going to be some things that I'm going to say in the remaining time that you're not going to agree with, or you're not going to necessarily like. But that's okay. Okay, I'm not here for you to like what I have to say. You can like me, because I'm sort of like me. Sometimes, right, Tim? Yeah. Well, I'm not mean and nasty.
Not ready to box.
Yeah. So, let's face it. Life is difficult. Life is problematic. Life is full of problems. For all of us, we cannot ignore the fact that we have difficulties. And some of us right now have more difficulty than others, but we will also have more difficulty tomorrow if we don't have them today. And they're not going anywhere. It's just the nature of life. So, it's all about overcoming the difficulties, because you still got the same weather, you got the same hideous storm that was supposed to hit Chicago with 14 inches of snow, but we only got 2. But those storms of life will hit us and continue to hit us throughout life. If it's not this thing or it's not that thing, it's going to be something else. But we learn to overcome by understanding that is not going to change. It's not gonna change. You will continue, when your kids are 10, or, they've got these kind of problems. When they're 3, they have this kind of problem. When they're 17, they have another set of problems. When they're 32, they have another set of problems, okay? And if you're with them all that time, you'll understand, these problems, they come and go and they vacillate and they go up and down, and the same thing with us, life changes and it stays difficult, but it stays as difficult oftentimes as, depending on the choices that we make. It's just like, I'm sure as a parent, or your parents said to you, don't hang around with Johnny, because Johnny's a troublemaker, and his father's a troublemaker, and you need to stay away from him. And some of us listened and some of us didn't. But we all found out if they hung around with Johnny long enough, I found out for myself, when I hung around with Tommy, and we started throwing rocks through windows, you're gonna get caught, and you're gonna get in trouble, right? So, it's really important to understand that in going through this life, we have to challenge ourselves. And it's not as simple as choosing a baked potato over a French fry. It's part of the process of living the kind of life that we want to live, and make the right kind of choices. And on top of all that, nobody's perfect. We don't always make the right choices. We're not always doing the right thing, and none of us are perfect. Except sometimes, Tim, did you say that?
I've never said that.
No, you told me that you make perfect choices sometimes.
The only thing that's perfect is on that sign up there.
Yeah. That's right. Perfect shape.
You got it.
One of the big problems that people have about food is that why junk food tastes so, because they've engineered it to taste very good, because they test it. They put chemicals and salt and sugar and fat and things like that make it taste really good. And then when people eat broccoli, yikes, it's tastes like poison. But actually broccoli can taste good after a while, after you get off of that stuff and you start introducing it into your diet. It can taste pretty reasonable. There's other kind of foods obviously you can choose, but a lot of it has to do with retraining and rethinking things. Things to do. I wish I could tell you the amount of time that I spent over the years looking into things, but it would be virtually impossible. Because I've studied with many different doctors, and when I was younger, I worked with some rather high-profile people, just trying to learn. They didn't pay me. I just went with them, and they let me do that to see what works and what doesn't work. And one of the first things I would tell you to do is drink good water. The water that comes out of your faucet isn't worth drinking. Okay, the water here in Lockport is about, last time I checked it was about 700 parts per million. And the EPA says anything over 500 or 600 parts per million isn't fit for human consumption, because we really don't know what's in that water. So, this water, I tested this water, and it's pretty good. It's like 4 or 5 parts per million, which is basically H2O, which is what you want to be drinking. I suggest that you either buy your water, but even a better solution is an RO unit in your house. It usually costs upwards of $150 to $200, and you clean your water, and you drink it right. You have a faucet that comes up that you can either do it underneath the sink, or I have mine in my basement and I run it up to the kitchen. It's not all that difficult to do, and it's not that expensive. You have to pay for the water.
What does RO mean?
Reverse osmosis.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. But yeah, and they're not all that expensive. I mean, some of them, if you go to Culligan, they'll charge you a lot of money, but there's a lot of good companies like Watts, Premier makes a really nice unit. They're about $170 or so. And, but it's important because all the pollution, where does it go? I mean, it goes on the ground and then runs off the ground. And where does it go? It goes into the water. And that's why you should drink good water. Okay, and it's not just, I started, when I heard this, that was about almost 45, maybe more than 45 years ago. I said, it made sense, But back in those days, there was no RO, reverse osmosis. There was distilled water. You distilled your own water. And so that was the only thing. So, what a distiller, and did that for many years. But distilled, by the way, is the best way to drink water. It's just pure water, H2O, for the most part. Eat a lot of vegetables. Berries, greens, mushrooms, onions, garlic, and fruit. That's the source of our nutrients, where we get our most vitamins and minerals from. Eat a lot of vegetables because an average vegetable, a pound of vegetables is about 100 to maybe 200 calories per pound, okay? And correlate that to a pound of oil, which is 4,000 calories, okay? So if you had a pound of kale, okay? And a pound of kale is about equivalent to a pound of meat in terms of protein, believe it or not, okay? But that's an awful lot of kale to be stuffing down your throat, and nobody's gonna make a diet of that on a regular basis. But, and along with fruits and vegetables, you should eat whole grains, like brown rice, quinoa, or a multiplicity of other kinds of whole grains in combination. And beans, any kind of green, black, red, white, pinto beans, highly nutritious, 28% protein. And people don't realize that, a bean is 26 to 30% protein. They think of, when people think of protein in our society, we think of meat. We think of fish, and we think of fowl. And there's plenty of protein in those kinds of foods. The foods that sustain life and make people healthy long term are those kinds of foods, okay? And now I'm gonna make a lot of enemies here. Right, Adam?
That's right.
Yeah. The worst food that the human body can consume is dairy food. Yeah. It is the worst food that you possibly can imagine. That means butter, milk, cheese. Oh, cheese, of course. I love it. I eat it, but whatever. But I will cheat in the summertime. If Jeanette invites me over for a cheese pizza, I will come and eat it. But that's very rare. I'm just kidding. But you can, there's other ways you can do that and still eat pizza. If you do it once in a while. See, if you do it once in a while, if you do it, most of the time, if you eat cheese, you usually eat it regularly, right? If you drink milk, you probably do that daily. But if you get away from those kinds of things and you say, I think I'll have a pizza with some cheese on it, okay? You go to Mod, we went to Mod Pizza, right?
Yep.
A couple weeks ago. And I had a pizza and they put vegan cheese on it. Wasn't bad. Wasn't bad at all.
What do they make that out of?
Usually soy. I didn't look at the ingredients. I just took their word for it. But usually it's made out of soy. Limit eggs, meat, fish, fowl. I'm gonna, and for people who want the information, I wrote up some names of people that you could look up and get information, okay, where I get most of my resources from now. And you can look those people up and you can see if I'm lying or you can check about it. But if anybody wants that list, I will give it to you afterwards. If there's not enough, we might have to make some. But we believe in our society that if you eat meat, it will make you healthy. I've read several books on the topic of how they raise animals in America, and it's enough to make you cry. I mean, I'm an environmentalist in the sense that I don't like to see us do things unnecessary to our environment to harm future generations. I'm all for conservation and protection. But I'm not an environmental wacko that says that you can't drive a car anymore because it pollutes the air. Because, we're sort of like can't go anywhere without cars these days. So I'm not on that fringe, but I also believe that I don't think you should treat anything cruelly, and we do. And when you see films like I've seen, and read books like I've read, you really get to think about, what are we doing? Why are we doing this to animals to make money and to feed people? And I'm not saying that it's inhumane to raise animals and slaughter them and eat them. I'm not against that, okay? I'm not talking about that. But how you do it, I think, really makes a big difference. And a lot of our diseases, like the swine flu and things like that, and maybe even this virus that's going around the world might have a basis in animals communicating that or transmitting that to humans, okay? And a lot of it has to do with filth and dirt and diseases that they transmit to us. So it behooves us to take better care of animals and to raise them properly and eat them because of the hormones, the shock, and the things that we do. We eat that food, okay? And it's not even talking about the hormones that they use in these animals to raise them quickly. We raise a cow from 50 pounds to 50 to 60 pounds at birth to like 600 pounds in 1 year, okay? And we're injecting them with all kinds of hormones. We're producing a constant state of pregnancy for a cow. And so when you're injecting a cow constantly to keep them pregnant, even though they're not pregnant, so they're giving milk, you're drinking it, and your kids are drinking it, and you're eating it, and it's affecting our bodies as well. And you can check into these people and look into that. I'm not saying don't eat meat. I'm not saying that, but I say eat, if you are going to eat it. And then I know what the complaint's going to be, but I choose to eat, when I do eat meat and fish, I eat wild caught fish and organic meat.